It removed my post where I said beat you to the punch.
I was like, I'm gonna beat you up, Ken. LOL.
Beat and
And
punch.
then
I've gotten in trouble for that too. I'm gonna punch you in the face.
I said we had to beat up Bauchi.
Okay, that's Subin. You can't.
All right,
What?
welcome back. Very poignant.
I gotta show you a funny video later.
Double News Joe at it again. Poignant episode of The Careful Boys. Where today we are going to talk about free speech.
Oh shit.
Free speech. It's just been a relevant topic that it's ironic that it's been a really, really big topic, but free speech. What does everybody think about it?
Do I look like No Neck Ed from the 90 Day Fiancé?
You're my best view.
That's free speech.
That's an American.
That's like that has nothing to do with anything, but you're
And-
technically allowed to say whatever you want.
And I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
Because it brought humor to us.
Okay, what
You do kind of look like Ed.
is going on these days with everybody talking about free speech is under threat, and then like there's actually people that want to control speech, and I was trying to look into why that is, because there's like the whole woke group, right, that people are like, oh, and every time I hear their argument, one, I don't think they quite understand the law and what it means, because they're like conflating like hate speech, and they think that free speech is, they're using that as a guise to do hate speech. But hate speech is already illegal. It's already there's already a law for it. So now what they're saying is like, oh well, people that just want to make jokes and you know, be misogynistic or bigot or homophobic, they're like using jokes and other things as a guise under free speech to kind of loophole into being hateful. And then
here's also the controversy, because hate speech, even though it's like been deemed illegal in certain capacities and stuff like that, is also there's no clear line
Of what's
of what
freedom.
is. It's like subjective in a sense.
oh no, it's defined in the law of what hate speech is.
Yeah, but the thing
Is it
is,
based
like,
on
But
intent?
what
it is
people-
subjective. For example, like I was just reading up on this earlier, where back in the day, if like somebody became like you know, like transitioned, right, and then you and their name was Joe, right, and then they transitioned, and now their name is like Jenny. But then if like back then you accidentally called that person Joe, right, that wouldn't be hateful, but now that's considered dead naming.
Yes, so you're right in the way where the group now.
That's not a mistake.
No,
Right.
so
Can I not be ignorant?
So Anthony is right in the way where
Can't.
they're misunderstanding what hate speech is used, and now they're trying to redefine what counts as hate speech.
Which is the subjectivity part about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's not subjective in the eyes of the law. If you put this in court, like dead naming someone or whatever, like that's what they're debating on right now.
But it's subjective in the eyes of lawmakers.
It's subjective in society. So there's two things that's going on, right? So like people are trying to control what is allowed to be like talked upon, free speech, whatever, right? Like there's few things going on. One is private companies are allowed to monitor and censor the way they want. They don't have to comply with the law because they also have company law. So it's like, hey, in our platform you can't say that, right? And so that's one way where people are like, why the fuck is Instagram taking down my posts? I'm not even saying anything illegal. Then there's the other side of it, the extreme side, which is you violated a law. You committed a hate crime, you did hate speech, now you're gonna face consequences from that. Not social, like being burned by the stake socially, but actually you're gonna go to fucking jail. So there's that part, right? And then I think there's like a lot of misunderstandings of like when people have this uprising of like, we should be able to say whatever we want. Well, the companies don't have to comply. They can make up their own rules.
Private companies.
Yeah. And then there's also like the social aspect of it where ethically they're like they're trying to make it an ethics argument of like, oh, that dead naming someone or whatever, that's wrong. And then some people are saying as extreme as like you should be punished by law. Now that's where the free speech stuff is coming under threat.
Yeah.
Is the law being updated where dead naming is going to be hate speech classified?
I think it's still an argument right now because like we're just in such a polarizing time on those types of topics in general. It's not like a clear consensus on like society thinking that the idea even of like transitioning is something that is correct.
Did Canada already do that? Did Canada already update where like you can't?
I thought that was still in the process.
That's what got Jordan Peterson famous.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
So like
he was fighting against that.
Yeah.
That specific law.
Because they were trying to mandate. So the government was trying to control the legality of having to call someone by their pronoun. Right. And then that's when Jordan Peterson was like debating those kids on campus, and he went viral from that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Canada's main bill was Bill C-16, which added the words gender identity or expression to 3 different places. First, it was added to the Canadian Human Rights Act, joining a list of identifiable groups that are protected from discrimination. These groups include age, race, sex, religion, and disability, among others. Second, it was added to a section of the criminal code that targets hate speech, defined as advocating genocide and the public incitement of hatred, where it joins other identifiable groups. And third, it was added to a section of the criminal code dealing with sentencing for hate crimes. If there's evidence that an offense is motivated by bias, prejudice, or hate, it can be taken into account by the courts during sentencing.
And that just gets so tricky though, because who gets to make that defining factor? Going back to the subjectiveness, and then back to what Jordan Peterson kind of said. How much do I have to be involved in your self-identity?
And what if I just made an innocent mistake?
Innocent mistake.
And then I gotta go to jail because I accidentally called you a man when you look like a bearded lady? Like, come on, dude.
Well, that's prejudice, dude.
No, I think things are a problem.
It's a slippery slope.
I've been called ma'am
That fallacy.
That's fucked up.
when I had my fucking hair down like this, and they didn't see, and I was fucking checking out at the register. A female called me ma'am.
So if somebody calls you ma'am, honestly, you should fill out a police report and lock that bitch up. You should lock that bitch up, dude.
Yo,
Would you like a bag, ma'am? What?
My name is Joe.
yo,
So there's also a really crazy thing going on in the UK right now because of the killing, the unfortunate killing of 3 children in Southport that happened a month ago.
Dude, yeah.
What's the story on that?
Oh,
It's
dude.
a whole nother thing.
There's
Is it immigrant stuff? Because I know they're going through some immigrant.
There's a lot
this
of
dude was-
protesting and
this dude was
shit
born
going
there.
down.
So what's the story on it?
So
guy that- the murderer was born
yeah,
there.
he's I think he's Somalian or something, but he was born in Wales, and then
There's a 17-year-old boy.
yeah, he went into a dance class and
For
just
kids,
stabbed
like a
up
kids'
a bunch
dance
of kids.
class.
Yeah, killed 3 girls. Yeah.
what?
Horrendous crime, yeah.
So this is sparking up all the immigration talk, huh?
Well, he's not even an immigrant. I think the way that the media was just trying to like be like, look at this innocent boy, and then they show pictures of him when he was like 12, all cute in like a uniform, instead of his current pictures of him like as a teenager.
I am your captain now.
Yeah.
That he looked like that. He looked pretty deranged, at least
Yeah.
when I saw him.
All
He's
raggedy.
mentally ill or what?
Yeah, he looked like a fucking lunatic.
So I think the locals there are more like pissed at the fact that it's not so much the immigrant stuff, but how the media is trying to make it like innocent.
And this is also it's kind of the perfect storm because it also is all happening at the same time as people rioting against like Muslims and asylum seekers that have been just kind of attacking Jewish mentality and just a lot of anti-Semitic kind of conspiracies that are like fueling a lot of stuff. And then this murder of like 3 kids also happened, and that's when everybody just kind of like went into full-on riots. Like the protests turned into riots.
They like dragged some dude out of his car and like fucked his car up.
Yeah.
Just for nothing. And they said it's like I don't know if it's true, but they were saying like it's mainly right wingers or some shit.
Yeah, so because
Yeah,
of that,
that's
and how that-
it's kind of all fucked up, right?
and how it ties in is that like people are using social media platforms to kind of like, you know, pour out their frustration and or fuel, you know, like further protesting and rioting and stuff. So the UK is now starting to hand out actual sentences. Like it says like 118 people have now been jailed for their involvement in some of the unrest that via social media uprising and racial hatred. So now like we're entering this kind of like really slippery slope where if I made a Facebook post about something because I was emotionally charged about this topic, now I can get jail sentencing. And that's a wild thing, you know what I mean?
What up, guys? Thank you for watching us for so long. If you like what we do, please support our Patreon. Joe, tell them what we have to offer.
So every week you get 2 videos. One never released director's cut, and another one 2 half for YouTube, Patreon only. Every freaking week you get that. And you get access to our Discord where you can come chat with us.
And ask us questions that become episodes here because we're going to answer them and we're going to take it seriously and we want to give you the responses that you want. So come stay connected with us, join our Patreon, click the description below for full details.
I think in the UK they're similar to ours in free speech laws, but I saw some clips where, like, let's say you're voicing your frustrations on social media, the police were like coming into your house and arresting people for those posts.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have the same laws. Like, you know how for us you have to have a warrant and a cop. They can't arrest you for things that you write unless it was a direct violation of, like, let's say you made a threat to kill the president or whatever. Then they could come and get you.
Which this is kind of similar. Like, for example, one of the guys, his name is Jordan Parler, age 28, who was given a jail sentence. Apparently, he called for an attack on a hotel housing refugees and asylum seekers on Facebook.
See, if you're the event organizer for that
crazy,
Facebook
though.
event,
Right, yeah.
you should be you should be in trouble, dude.
That's not a.
He's like, free speech. It's like,
That's not an emotionally charged.
That's
thought.
blatant intention.
Yeah.
I can't gather a bunch of boys to go.
And I hate people like that because they want you to do the worst shit, but they don't do it.
yeah.
He's not doing
Terrorist
nothing, dude.
attack.
I also don't like that because, like, do it your fucking self, man.
The other guy, his name is Tyler K, age 26. He was convicted after he used social media to call for hotels housing asylum seekers to be set alight.
That's crazy.
Yeah, see, that's just like.
That's just too much.
That's wild, dude. But honestly, though, like, if you, that's probably the good thing about social media is you do a lot of stupid shit like that. There's a paper trail, so we could track exactly what you're doing, the things you're engaging with.
But that should be, in essence, even like the concept of free speech, right? Like, free speech isn't like so free, right? It's you have the freedom to say it, but you also.
But there's
have to face
consequences.
consequences.
You have
Thing.
you have the freedom to show clues that you're a fucking insane guy. Like, that's what that is, you know. These are probably the kind
but
of.
there's already laws against, like, making threats.
Yeah.
You know, like,
He's organizing.
yeah, or like incite, like, hey, we should all rally up and burn down this fucking hotel full of immigrants. Like, there's already laws against that. This is what I mean by, like, on both sides, it's a bunch of fucking idiots that don't know the law that are saying, like, hey, free speech. They think free speech means you can say whatever the fuck you want without any
And
consequences.
there's a way that if he wants to express that, you could phrase it where it fits in the law.
Yeah.
You could be like, yeah, man, if something happened to that building, I wouldn't be that mad about it. You know, like, okay, then say that.
It's
Ryan
just
is
a statement.
wild.
Like, that's another thing too. It's
But
like,
that's because you understand the law, right? So on both, I'm seeing, like, the people that want to suppress speech, they don't even know that there's already laws that are against the things that they're against.
yeah, because they're just not clever.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say you want to kill someone. You have to say if they died, you wouldn't be that sad over it.
And then just put a bunch of emojis so it's subjective.
Yeah.
Framing is important.
Yeah. Phrasing, baby.
I don't think any law should even be made over emotions in general.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In what way? What do you mean?
I meaning, like, because
Give us an example.
Emotions are temporary,
It's true.
depending on that situation. So if something happened that day, that whatever, they're gonna try to make the law, or people are trying to make the law off of that one day and that one situation, which, you know, throughout the time doesn't make any sense at all.
There's
right?
nuance
So
to
you're
the
talking about
circumstance.
you're talking about the Patriot Act after 9/11.
Who knows? Whatever it is, I think emotions shouldn't be in any laws and any rules in general. No emotion should.
Like, I got my feelings hurt, therefore you should go to jail.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, that's what,
None of that.
So,
what he
like,
means.
you're
It's like-
basically saying that attacking someone's emotion isn't violent.
Just because you thought it was hurtful
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's credited for a consequence of that magnitude.
Because you know,
That's
people
what-
say it's violence if you're like
Silence.
being mean to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I guess there's a difference, right?
You can't
Versus,
win
like,
either way.
Let's say somebody who's on the far right or whatever, like, goes online and tweets like, "I don't think transgenderism is real" or something like that, right? That's like their opinion, versus the idea of like, being like this quote unquote transgender person should be burned. Like, that's like a totally different thing,
Yeah,
right?
but
Like,
words have meaning. So it changes the entire framing of everything.
And that's what's happening right now. I believe in the woke side right now. The super woke ones are people are trying to have their emotions
Protected.
Protected by laws, or they're trying to make it a law.
Yeah, they're taking the position of we should be considerate, right? So like, I think they're rallying up good intentions of like, hey, we should probably be for some censorship because we don't want people to get hurt. So it has these good intentions, but what ends up happening is it's not well thought out. So then it's like, well, who becomes the judge and jury of
who's the arbiter?
Like, the government is horrible at like executing all these policies. So
Right, so the people who are making the play of
you're
they're
gonna
going to be the judges. Like,
Exactly.
It's just we're opening up that whole floodgate.
Right, and if you're hurt by what we say or anyone else to say at the end of the day, we shouldn't really care.
We shouldn't.
Yeah, I agree with
Like
that.
we should not be careful about your feelings. Like, you know what I mean? Like, does that make any sense?
yeah, I think that's what I mean by like social and ethics, right? That's different from legality. So like one is punishable by like you could go to jail, you could be fined, you have your rights restricted because you violated something that was so severe to the public that like it shouldn't be happening. But now if you're just rude and then people like bite back because you're being rude, it's like that's different.
You're taking away the self-regulation of your own emotions. Like the responsibility of doing that.
Yeah.
You're taking that away completely.
Societally, I still think it's your loss if you're just a dick.
Yeah.
So I think like we should look at it that way. Because I remember Ben Shapiro said something I kind of agreed with a long time ago, where he was like, yeah, if you don't want to make a cake for some gay guy, that's your loss. Like you're gonna lose the business. Every other gay guy's gonna go, I'm not gonna go there anymore, and then you're fucked. Like that's on you then.
Yeah.
If you want to be that. But then they shouldn't come in there and be like, no, you are going to make a cake for every goddamn gay guy in this town. Like, that doesn't seem like the correct response. It seems like, no, let the business fail because they don't want to make gay cakes.
There's signs that says we can refuse service.
Yeah.
It's up.
But then it's their loss if they don't get business. Like, yeah, that's why I'm like,
I just don't
you can't
understand
police
why
that.
would you want to even give business to a person that's a bigot?
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
you could spend your money other places, right?
What if
It's
the
not-
cake's hella good?
I know, right? And you're like, I gotta go. Yeah.
That's what Subin said. That's what Subin said.
Then you have to go back.
And it's such a different era from what do you call it, when during segregation or you know, when people are like, hey, we're spending good money at the restaurant, but why the hell do we have to sit by the bathroom? Or like, why do we have like these different accommodations when we're paying the equal amount of money? So I think at that point, we wouldn't want to go back to that, right? It's like that doesn't make any sense if you're paying the same amount of money.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the free speech like point, Elon recently said this to this journalist, and he's like, free speech should be offensive and uncomfortable. Like the only reason why you have a free speech law is because people are saying things you don't want to hear, which is protecting that.
Also, how do we challenge one another with the same way of thinking?
Yeah.
Also, just to add on to what Ryan was saying about that Ben Shapiro example, just to make sure it's clear, if you were to like refuse, let's say you're a baker and you're like, I don't want to like, you know, bake cakes for gay people, like that is still discrimination. It's not that it's like morally or socially nice or right. It's just that like you said, we shouldn't be like, it's not like taxpayer dollars should go into like
Policing
legal
it.
enforcing of like that type of situation when there's other things that's going to happen regardless. Discrimination, we should always be against the idea of discrimination, but it doesn't mean that like there's like a legal case for it is all. Versus the support, like you can refuse the right to serve somebody just because of like their skin color or their gender pronouns or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like you shouldn't, but again, that is like that's
It's
like
funny
your
because all these other people that have those like I'm not gonna serve this group or this group. You can always guarantee that a Chinese man will open up a business right next to you and serve everybody
saying, dude,
and be
yeah.
open 24 hours a day and they'll beat you. So it's like you can be the guy that's like, I'm only gonna serve midgets. Or you could be the guy that's like, I'm gonna serve.
It's a tough business model. It's really hard to stay alive in this video game.
I don't know if maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but like I feel like a lot of the law and what people want out of it is getting swayed by a ton of people that don't fucking leave the house. Yeah. I feel like it's like the comments online don't reflect what we really run into in everyday life.
They're bots, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like
based on like idealistic values, I guess, right? It's like
exactly, yeah.
The people that are working, like the guy who works at a fucking bakery who's refusing all these gay guys.
I like how this is the analogy.
Like, you know,
and his cakes are bomb.
Yeah, that guy knows what he's doing when it comes to baking cakes and serving customers that are not gay. As soon as they're gay, he has no idea what that's like, bro. He's never served a gay guy in his life. Or a gay woman.
This guy's fucking doing cake art, and he's doing two guys holding hands, and he's fuming. He's angry, dude.
And the reason why is because it's like American Beauty. He's gay, but he can't get out of it. You know,
it's already too late. You can't come out now. That's the problem. That's what he thinks.
It just reinforces it. Like with all the shit that he got, do you think now he's like, yeah, I fucked up. I love gay guys. Like, no, he hates them even more now. Like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? This guy fucking hates them with a passion now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's in love with them.
Yeah, that's why I think like a lot of these laws are like it just doesn't. It's not reflective of everyday life.
I think it protects the extremes, right, from happening. But I don't know. It's just this whole like sentiment of if I get your name wrong. Ideally, like I know it's deeper than that, but on the surface level, if I get your name wrong, I go to jail, or you could charge me with criminal charges. That just seems a little crazy. Yeah. And I would like to think the person who's transgender who gets dead named
has enough common sense to
I think most of them are not gonna go down.
It's just so weird that like transgender people in real life, to me, from personal experience, are fucking normal. But then like when you look online, they're all extremely nuts. Exactly. And I'm like, that doesn't correlate well with what you see in the world.
I feel like that's a perfect example of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Like the people I know that is LGBTQ community, right?
Nick.
Like they're not like the influencers and the crazy people that we see online.
Subin.
What?
Yeah, but they don't even, they think those guys are fucking dumb. So I'm like, I think the online world has a different culture that's completely not reflective of the real world.
Yeah, I think it's weird that we're using the stereotype as the example. Like that's kind of strange to me. It'd be like if like the government was saying all Filipino guys are sleazy, fucking cheat on their wives.
They fucking are, dude. They all have multiple. They all have multiple families.
Like, a little bit, but I don't think that should be any laws behind that. Like, it'd be weird.
Filipinos like, is it illegal to be romantic?
Is my passion so bad?
I mean, real quick though, like we did see over COVID what happens when they try to control speech. Like they went really hardcore on all the platforms, right? And then what we realized was the gatekeepers were interns, college kids that were like had all this fucking power. They could take down channels, they could take down posts. They didn't even understand the world very much.
Right.
They had a very biased point of view, which was extremely left-wing and from Silicon Valley. So anything that they had a bias against, they started shutting down everything. And on top of that, you saw all the Twitter file leaks. The government was working with the FBI. Like, I mean, the government in power at the time, which is, you know, Biden's camp, was working with FBI to censor and silence a lot of the shit that they didn't agree with on Twitter.
Yeah, so it was one-sided then.
It became like a thing where now you have an 18-year-old intern that's sitting there working for YouTube, deciding if this post should be.
I don't like it.
They're like misogyny, bigotry, whatever, and then it's like you read it again and you're like, oh, actually, no, this was it was a satire, and then you're a little bit older, you understand like the context, and you're like, no, that actually wasn't what you think it was.
And that's if it gets to a human judge. Like it could still be the system.
Instagram removed my post about beating up Can, so
Yeah, it removed my post where I said beat you to the punch. that expression is violent.
I was like, I'm gonna beat you up, Ken.
Yeah,
LOL.
beat and
And
punch.
then
I've gotten in trouble for that too. I'm gonna punch you in the face.
I
and then
said we had to beat up Fauci.
Okay, that's Subin. You can't.
What?
They're gonna come after you. There's a warrant for your.
Come on!
Oh shit.
Come!
You're not even fully registered yet.